Do you find that no matter how hard you try, your competition always beats you? Have you ever wondered how you could outmaneuver your competition? This video is for you. In this video, we will introduce a technique called Judo Strategy. This strategy makes parallel references to techniques used in judo to beat your competition, in order to propose new ways to beat your competition in business. Overall, there are 3 main areas to focus on, and within those 3 areas, there are 15 methods that can be applied to beat your opponents. It is worth considering each technique and whether or not it is applicable to your business. These are especially valuable for a startup to consider as ways to avoid or deflect competition. With that, let's dive into the presentation. Previously, in video number 1, we were introduced to an overall strategic management framework, and more specifically, the first step in that framework, namely developing the strategy. Then, in video number 2, we focused in on the second part of that first step, namely strategic analysis. In video number 2, we identified 5 different techniques that would form part of our strategic analysis toolkit. This presentation will focus on the 5th and final technique, namely Judo Strategy. Judo Strategy comprises 15 methods that need to be considered. These methods are divided into 3 core categories. The first category is mastering movement. The second category is managing balance. The third category is mastering leverage. Within mastering movement, we start by considering managing the awareness or visibility of our organization. The first method we will consider is that the first goal is to stay in the game. If your business is a startup or new to the market, you should focus on quietly producing your goods or services. Stealth is highly effective. Next, within mastering movement, we continue considering managing the awareness or visibility of our organization. The second method we will consider is that we should avoid head-to-head battles. If your business is a startup or new to the market, you should avoid your competitors and stay out of their way. Pay attention to what they are doing and do not interfere. You need to hit your competitors when and where they least expect it. Next, within mastering movement, we continue considering managing the awareness or visibility of our organization. The third method we will consider is that we should not initiate or provoke battles. Think carefully about how you market and promote, and be sure not to pick any unnecessary fights. If you don't attack them, they also might not attack you. Next, within mastering movement, we shift our attention to defining the competitive space. The 4th method we will consider is that we should not compete with the big players at what they do best. Remember the lessons from Blue Ocean Strategy and compete in less crowded areas. Next, within mastering movement, we continue considering the competitive space. The 5th method we will consider is that we should move into uncontested or new space. Again, we need to remember our blue ocean strategy. New space is even better than less crowded space. Next, within mastering movement, we continue considering the competitive space. The sixth method we will consider is that we should play where rivals are weak. Where we cannot avoid competitors with our blue ocean strategy, we should consider where our competitors have the least advantage. Hit them where it hurts. Next, within mastering movement, we continue considering the competitive space. The seventh method we will consider is that we should play where rivals are less motivated to compete. If they do not want to compete, you will face less offensive attack from them. Next, we move on to the second of our core categories, namely managing balance. We consider gripping our opponent, making it unnecessary to compete. Our eighth method to consider is giving potential competitors a stake in your success. Perhaps a joint venture or partnership approach may be more profitable than direct competition. Hold each other up instead of trying to pull each other down. Next, within managing balance, we continue considering gripping our opponent. And our ninth method to consider is offering your products or services to your competition to reduce their incentive to compete. Better to make them a customer instead of a competitor. Next, within managing balance, we move our focus to pushing when pulled, and our 10th method to consider is incorporating a competitor's services or products into your attack. If you are their customer, they are less likely to treat you like a competitor. Next, we move on to the third of our core categories, namely mastering leverage. We consider leveraging our opponent's assets, and our 11th method to consider is targeting ex-employees of a competitor. Neutralize their competitive advantage by acquiring the skills and insights. Next, within mastering leverage, we continue considering leveraging our opponent's assets. And our 12th method to consider is leveraging our competitors' customer base. Which customers are not satisfied or catered for? There may be an opportunity to steal customers from your competitor. Every customer you gain is one they lose. Next, within mastering leverage, we continue considering leveraging our opponent's assets, and our 13th method to consider is differentiating from our competitors' asset strengths. Consider their unique selling point in their assets. By offering something very different, they would not be able to easily alter and compete without significantly changing their existing business model. Next, within mastering leverage, we move our attention to considering leveraging our opponent's partners. And our 14th method to consider is creating situations that remove alignment in competitors' relationships. Destabilizing your competitors' relationships and even stealing them for yourself can give you a significant advantage. This does not need to be done in an unethical manner, but by positioning yourself strategically, your competitors' partners may be persuaded to change allegiance to you or away from your competitor. And finally, within mastering leverage, we move our attention to considering leveraging our opponent's competitors. And our 15th method, which is that the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Your opponent's competitors will also know this and be incentivized to partner with you wherever possible. A 2 versus 1 fight will give you an increased advantage. And so we have 15 methods to consider as we refer to the techniques learnt in judo and apply judo strategy to fight our competitors. In this video, we learnt about Judo Strategy. The technique proposes 15 different methods that could be applied to avoid or deflect competition. The methods are broken down into 3 core areas, namely mastering movement, managing balance, and mastering leverage. By considering each technique one by one, you will be able to identify potential ways to outmaneuver your competition and gain market share. And with that, we come to the end of our Strategic Analysis Toolkit video series. In the next video, we will move on to strategy maps. If you enjoyed this content, please like the video, subscribe to our channel, and click on the notification bell. It helps us grow the channel and bring more content to small and medium business owners and managers. Also, be sure to check the description below for any related product affiliate links. And finally, please comment on the video or click on our community tab to further interactions and updates.